So, well, welcome. Thanks for joining me for a day on CCS Development Days. Today we're talking about our favorite fatty boy stitches. If you're familiar with other MOBAs, there's always somebody that's got a hook, whether it be playing Devourer in Heroes of New Earth, or Pudge in Dota, or Blitzcrank, I believe is his name in League of Legends. Big guy that's got a hook. So right now, they did some great changes to him in the last patch, and they continue to kind of balance him and nerf him a little bit. But I think Stiches is very well played, and with the right help, can probably be picked every map. There's a couple maps he's really strong on, and there's a couple different ways that you can definitely play him. So before we go too far, let me turn off all the people because I don't need them yet. Okay, so to quickly go over, I think I'll do each talent tier, but overall, I believe there's probably only two builds that we're probably going to walk all the way through. Um, but
You're
we'll
not
see.
you're not streaming, by the way, if you meant to be.
Oh, thank you. Let me turn that on for you. Do do do. That's interesting. It asked me this time if I wanted sound, but I usually give sound to that. Okay, so I'm gonna set my level here to 7 just to start, so we can show off. I'll call it the Brawler Wave Clear Stitches. So Stitches can technically double soak as soon as you hit 4. I guess we'll set my level to 4 then. So the level 1 talent doesn't really matter if you plan to double soak. I do think that if you are into a team that has a lot of auto attackers, or you potentially don't have a ton of heals coming, like you've got like a burst healer or something, feel free to take Patchwork Creation. It's really good getting armor as well as just flat out you get more healing, and the more healing works on yourself too. So your E heals more, your talents you pick that have healing heal more. So this is pretty much a self-sustaining, and you get armor. So that can be really strong, like I said, and it's not just physical armor, it's all armor. So it can be really helpful to reduce the amount of damage you're taking. Obviously, if they have percentage health damage, like a Tychus, this is not going to help you very well. The armor just doesn't work versus percentage health. So if their main way to kill you is percentage health, do your best to get out of there. So taking Hunger for More means you can run away from the percentage health that's trying to kill you. I have gotten pretty funny movement speeds in games, especially on like Tomb of the Spider Queen, and you get to collect those double globes pretty consistently. Stiches gets moving real fast. Um, the one talent on this tier I think that's kind of a trap, unfortunately, is Savor the Flavor. So like I did some math on it just to like double check how much of a trap I thought it was. So at level 4, when you slam something, it tells you that you do 44 or 42 damage over 4 seconds. So at level 4 here, you do 44 damage with scaling. So if I just insta complete the quest and slam something, it's 128 damage over 4 seconds. So if I collect 100 globes, yes, I do 80 more damage over 4 seconds. And that's not going to be significant enough for you to get a kill on something. So the only reason you'd need this is if you needed more health regeneration, and I don't even think it's worth it because you're having to E enemy heroes. And as much as Stiches can be more brawly, I don't think you're ever going to complete this in game to be useful. So don't take that one. Grab either Hungry for More or Patchwork Creation. I usually lean Patchwork Creation. So then on 4 here, I wanted to show how Stiches can double soak starting at level 4. So his current build, if you run around and do stuff, you hit and you just do gas, and all of the inner circle is the only ones that technically become gassed. So once again, if you look, it's all of the ones in his little tiny circle here. So despite that you hit the whole wave and do damage to the whole wave, only the ones in the circle get it. So when you're trying to optimize your wave clear, you potentially want to hit the backline minions in the rear, so that way you get the soak and the dot damage on them. And about 2 cleaves plus your random auto attacks will clear a whole wave. Your cleave is up every 8 seconds, so you essentially can clear the wave in 8 seconds. So but the one thing that's nice on this talent, if you take Vile Cleaver, instead of having to wait for that tiny circle, your entire slam now does gas. So you're going to clear the wave even faster. And if you hit something with gas, you can see that little explosion going off, and it will help you bully the enemy person and just do more wave clear. And so now you don't necessarily need to use 2 slams, but by the time you finish it, will be about 2 slams still. Stiches doesn't really get an increase to his wave clear after that. It just works that way. So I'm down here doing my thing. The wave starts to crash. And then I want to angle my stuff towards the back for the bonus damage. Just kind of slap each of the minions once. Go for the globe here. Back up, slam, and I can pretty much walk away, because that minion will die. So, yeah, as I said, it's about 8 seconds. It's not ideal. I wouldn't pick Stiches as like your premier double soaker, but it's very nice having wave clear on your tank, and especially in a more brawly heavy map where you need someone to soak or go run around and do stuff. Like, Stiches can do that. Just, once again, I wouldn't do it on purpose as far as like trying to outpace a Malthiol or a Zool or anything. Then to complete this like bruisery build type thing, you want to at 7 grab putrefaction. And so what that does is it actually reduces horror, or reduces healing. So Stiches also has an anti-heal. So into like Brightwing or double support, you have an anti-heal now. But the other thing that's really fun in your maybe not super coordinated games or just the more bruisery style is you heal off of your gas. So the slam talent that you took here that makes it to where it adds more gas means that you have more targets that are going to be healing you over time. So let me go tank some damage real quick. So all I'm going to do is continue to try and do my wave clear thing. The minions show up. I slam them, and I just do my regular deal here. I don't even need the extra slam. Everything's pretty much dead, but there's the extra slam. And I just healed up about 50% of my health by just doing wave clear things. So it gives Stiches a lot of sustainability for just hitting slam. So, and it stacks even more so with your level 1 talent that you took where it's Patchwork Creation. So if you're fighting on like Infernal Shrines and you need a heal, say it's like, and you're trying to snipe minions, like I believe this works on the Infernal Shrine minions too. Yeah, it's any target that has it. So like on Infernal Shrines, you can just walk up and like slam the minions there and start getting your own healing while everyone's sitting there fighting, and you might snipe the last few minions on the shrine. So this is definitely a very fun brawler type build. I don't go it all the time though. I think this is, as bad as it sounds when I can't necessarily trust my team the best, I think that this gives you a lot of self-sustain, wave clear, and bonus damage for what Stiches kind of lacks. Because a lot of the time when you play Stiches, people feel like, oh, did you land the hook? Alright, we win the game. And if you don't land the hook, then you lose the game. But I think by grabbing all these extra W talents, it makes you more sustainable, it gives you wave clear, and can add a little bit more damage to potentially secure kills. And so in that same route, I think I'll just go ahead and max level here so I can start toggling through talents. I think you can actually take, we'll just go ahead and do this all the way through. So at 10, I think you can take either Gorge or Putrid Bile. I don't necessarily think that one or the other is required or mandatory. I know you don't get Tenderizer. I'll get there, Valk. So either these two ults here depend on whether or not your team has follow-up or there's a specific target that you can cheese with Gorge. So what I mean by that is heroes like Mephisto or Joanna, or shoot, I'm trying to remember the other one that's got funny teleportation stuff. It's mainly Mephisto and Joe that I think of, where you can actually gorge them, and you will be able to stop their recall or stop what they were doing. And so if Mephisto was to like blink in and try and like AoE your team just for poke damage, you can just gorge him and take him back to your team, and he does not return back to his position. And so it's one of those things that's very cheeky that if they have a Mephisto on their team, you can punish Mephisto, because a lot of the time they're not either expecting it, or they can't counterplay around it the entire time. That means like Mephisto no longer is jumping in to do poke damage because he's afraid he's going to get gorged. So definitely a fun little thing, as well as into Joanna. People like to pick Joe into Stiches just because Joe can eat the hooks with her trait, and so it'll be like effectively trading trait for hook, and they're about the same cooldown, assuming you don't take the cooldown talents. And so people are like, oh, it's an effective counter. Well, what you can do is, even if you get the D trait pulled or used, as soon as you land a hook, because sometimes you can land hooks from out of vision to be able to grab the minions or whatever you want. And if you get it out of vision, you can shift Q the gorge, or you can just gorge her once the hook is finished, and then take her like behind your wall or take her away from the team. And then when she pops her trait, it doesn't do as much value because she's already isolated by herself. So something to think about. Definitely Gorge is pretty reliant on your team being effective and useful, because if as much as you can gorge and put things in your tower or put them behind the wall, by the time the game gets later and later, you won't have necessarily all your structures to be able to self-kill with Gorge. So making sure that your team drafts a follow-up CC of some sort to ensure that either your hook or your Gorge net kills is pretty crucial for Stiches. Just finishing up this Bruiser build before I go to the tank build. I'm going to probably be an unpopular person here. Meat Hook's the only talent that's good on this talent here. I thought this would be okay, but then I realized that it's buffing the wrong thing. Like, I thought it buffed trait with your stuff, but it doesn't. I agree, the old Chop Chop was so much better. So, like, this Under Pressure talent is not damaging people with Slam, it's damaging heroes with Vile Gas. So yes, your Slam applies Vile Gas, but it's one of those things where you increase the damage of Slam up to 75 additional damage. And so there's not really, like, the difference between, what, it's 228 damage, so 328 damage. That, like, sure, it's damage, but it's definitely not good. And then Chop Chop, like I was commenting, Devalk used to be way better with the ability to increase your attack speed, but it just, there's not enough heal on auto attack and everything else to really make this work. And even in the brawly style of things, if you were to take Tenderizer that heals you for 1.75% of your health, so at level 4 it heals you for like 62 in auto attack. And then if you take the Healy talent on 1 that I've got shown here, this will heal you for 71 in auto attack. But even if you attack really fast, Stiches only attacks every 1.5, oh no, sorry, every 1 second, more or less, 0.91 seconds. So even if you get the increased attack speed, you're never going to get to a fast enough rate to be able to out-heal the value you get from Meat Hook. And so let me just show you why Meat Hook is really dumb. So Meat Hook, no matter what build you take, is probably the correct one, because Stiches gets healed for 20% of his max health over 5 seconds. And then on top of that, if you auto-attack the person that has the hook, it restarts the duration for it. So as you come over here and you hook this guy, you see I've got the heal, but if I just slap him once, you can see that it's trying to continue to heal me that 20%. So I hit him 5 times and I'm back to full health. And like, it's just outrageous that Stiches can heal and duel people And, sure, Vile Gas talent is helping me here a little bit, but there's a lot, and then the self-sustain healing here. But you just get so much value from healing in this, and it also helps because a lot of the time when you're taking fights, like they either start with a hook or people engage on your team. And if they're engaging on your team and you've got like putrid bile, you can run around and fight with your team. You're just absorbing a bunch of damage. And as the person tries to leave or, the fight's about to go, you can try and hook that person back into your team. And then you get that bonus healing that comes out with there. So I really appreciate Meat Hook there. 16, again, I think there's only one real choice. The other one is actually, I guess no, they're subjective. Pulverizer is really hard to say no to because if you go ahead and hit somebody with your inner circle, it slows the target by like 50%. And so that's really the goal originally, is you always try and hit your enemies inside of this middle circle. But if you take Pulverize, even if you hit them with the, I'll toggle cooldowns and pull up a friend. Come here, Anduin. If you hit anybody with any part of the circle, it actually will slow them for 70% for 25%. So I really like the ability to have that change. Like, sure, you can see, oh, there it is up here in the top. You can see that it's 55% movement speed, so it's reducing his movement speed. And then when you take Pulverize, I can hit him at the very edge, and it takes him down to 70. And if you did happen to hit him in the middle, it takes him to 70, and then it takes him down. Oh, stupid movement speed from your own abilities. But you can see there it jumps from 30 to 55, so it changes between the two. And on top of that, you reduce armor, so that means that you're going to be killing heroes faster. Thanks, Winibo. So then on, quickly pick the same things, just so that way I can finish this example. So then on 16 here, you can also take Digestive Juices. I think it's actually very good because it's a damage reduction tool. So like, if you have like a Deathwing, which is another hero people like to take into you because Deathwing can't be eaten, can't be hooked. So people like just go in and they pick Deathwing, and Deathwing blocks all the hooks. Well, that's cool. You also do 50% less damage, Deathwing, when you're in the team fight, and that can be, crippling for something or somebody, or if they have a similar one-shot type composition where they need that bonus healing, or they works really well into double support too, where you can reduce what they do. So, oh no, that one doesn't reduce healing. That one just reduces damage. So never mind. Scratch that. Not into double support. As cool as Flare Up is, if you wanted the wave clear or the bonus damage, you probably could have taken one of these over here instead. But it definitely can be played. It's cool to have Holy Fire and to walk around and like stand next to people and do bonus damage, but it just is very slow. Like it's constant damage. If you need to somehow, I don't even think clearing Zagara Creep's worth it. Your slam is on such a low cooldown, you can just clear Zagara Keep with your slam. But like, sure, you get the bonus damage and you can see like the bonus crit tickers coming out for that, but it just does not. It just doesn't do enough. Like it's on like the brawly type of Stiches. You just want to be slowing people. That means more auto attacks, means more hooks, means more potential kills. So yeah, I would go there. And then lastly at 20, there's actually a couple fun choices. So Unstoppable is something that I think people don't pick often enough. So being able to be unstoppable is huge, especially to deny wombo combos or to do other things. You can get a lot of stuff done with this unstoppable. I just wish that it made your trait 20 seconds. Instead of reducing it by 20 seconds, I wish it was more up. Because you use your trait already to do a lot of movement speed as well as potentially armor bonuses, and you're going to get stuck with a 40-second cooldown that you're now using. Instead of potentially using it offensively, it becomes only defensively. But a dead Stiches is not a good Stiches either. So definitely don't pass on this if you need it. Um, the other cheeky thing you can do with this is so a lot of people like to pick a Nubrak into um, yes, Falk, that's two. Um, something that people like to do is they like to pick Nubrak into Stiches, because if Stiches gorges somebody, a Nubrak can cocoon them and it instantly drops the gorge. So if if you're worried about that counterplay, just take Putrid Bile. But you could take Gas Bag too. And so now once you gorge someone, you pop your trait and are unstoppable, and so there's no way for them to stop you from cocooning or stopping you from pulling your teammate back into their team. So it's a fun little interaction. But on 20, my favorite's Master Hooker. The fact that we can reduce the cooldown of Hook by 4 seconds again, and 75% reduce healing, and give heroes and friends unkillable for 2 seconds is just bonkers. Like, this turns Hook into, instead of we get one, hopefully, turns into a fight where you get 4 or 5 hooks off in a single team fight, whether it be friendly or not. Because sometimes people don't feel comfortable throwing the helping hand just because they get stuck with what they're dealing with and they're afraid or don't want to, that it's no longer available for an engage. But taking Master Hooker is nice. You can even bait out people by hooking your teammates and then having Hook be back up again because they saw Hook's down. So it's pretty cool. I love this talent. If you do take Bile, I actually don't like the Bile upgrade. And maybe it's just because I have a mentality of, like, if I'm already dead, what am I doing? So, like, so we're just going to look at damage for Bile real quick. So at level 20, if I put Bile on 4 players, and somehow they don't move and are in Bile the entire time, right? Like, that's 2,000 damage. That's really good. And then we take the talent here. And once again, if somehow they don't move, and I just drop the Bile on 4 players, I don't actually finish a gift from the Embalmer during one cast of R. Like, even as I'm like, for someone to actually finish this quest, they have to hit at least 4 heroes the entire duration. So what I mean by that is like this. They have to be constantly in it for you to finish that quest. And so it's like, and as much as you will be, creating a zone of denial, you will not finish that on one cast most of the time. And so if you're not finishing it on one cast, you're not getting the full death reduction. But we really don't want to be dead anyway. It's not like Malthael where we can trade our lives 1 for 1 and make a excellent trade and come out ahead. So it's fun, and maybe in a very Storm League quick matchy type thing where one death will lose you the game because they're playing some sort of crazy, I don't know, pick comp, or they've been killing you all game. Like, sure, feel free to take it. But, I don't think the damage bonus or the 80% cooldown reduction every 2 casts is going to be game-changing versus having a hook that's up every, 4 seconds. So yeah, I would call this build kind of a brawly build, so where you're not reliant on your teammates. So I would say that if you wanted to, if you were going to Storm League and you wanted to play Stiches, this is probably the most wave clear, most damage, and most self-sufficient way to play it, to where he's just a walking annoying mess And if you've never tried it, give it a shot. The fact that you can double soak by yourself, and the fact that you can heal a ton, and now your hooks are like every hook. Oh, I have toggle cooldowns. Every hook you do gets reduced right away to that much time. It's great, and being able to reduce the healing on that target that you've hooked or save your friends. So I think this is fun. But if I was to be playing in coordinated, we'll just quickly pick talents and then we'll talk through some of your questions. I think once again, level 1 depends on, do they have percentage health, yes or no? If the answer is no, you can take Pack Torch Creation. I love Tenderizer. In a coordinated environment, you're going to land the hook, you're going to have a follow-up CC, and you're going to have the tools to hopefully get a kill within the, I'd say 6 seconds of a hook. Someone has to die, and you don't want Stiches to be the one that dies when you throw that hook. And so Tenderizer helps you because it's going to restore your health every time you make a basic auto attack. And it gives you a slow to help your team get kill secure on the target. So like if I come over here and hook Anduin, like I can see his, man, I didn't click on him again. You can look up here at his movement speed. Oh, never mind. Alright, Anduin, I know. Okay, so you can see his movement speed is at 80%, which enables me to get healing. So every time I'm healing him at level 20, I get 134 healing, and then I can also slam him, and that reduces his movement speed as well. So it helps you be really sticky to the target that you just hooked, and potentially gives you an opportunity to get kills for your own self-survival, so it gives you a little more time to be brawly. So if you don't need the wave clear, and you don't need to be any of that stuff, Tenderizer's amazing. But if you need wave clear, feel free to take that Vile Cleaver. So then at 7, for, I'd say, coordinated tank stuff, you're going to take Serrated Edge. So not only do you do bonus damage to the target you hooked, so this means that you can now potentially hook the tank and not be upset, because you're going to be doing 5% of max health. The biggest thing about this is hook's cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. So now when you hit an enemy hero, your hook's back up in 12 seconds. And like you said, the hook gets the duration while it's out. So now your hook's back up, and pairing that with the level 20 hook means that your hook is up every, 4 seconds. So, I said, I think you can pick either one in coordinated. Just depends on what you are trying to achieve. Obviously, hooking and gorging and taking somebody behind your building is super strong. And then to give the added benefit of not only being able to take them across this, you can also use your Shambling Horror to move faster. Shambling Horror is nice because it gives you 10% movement speed, but it also prevents you from being reduced from any slows and things. So you can walk through chromy sand pits and things with your D if needed. So it can be a good addition to what you're already trying to do. As well as, you don't really want to use it as a get out of jail free card, but it can be used that way just because it also does damage and it buffs your armor. So if you're hitting stuff and you end up hitting your D, you get more armor because of all the people that you slammed. So, so then kind of continuing with Qs, Meat Hook's the best on the talent. I still think Pulverize, and then Master Hooker. And so if you do this correctly, every time you hook, your hook's going to be below 7 seconds, and then you're able to just take a quick another fight or another hook, and you can just keep looking for hooks without really any fear. So, as much as I didn't talk about Hungry Stiches, outside of a specific wombo combo, I don't know. It's hard. I think it's too memey to be incredibly useful. Master Hooker gives you more opportunities to win the game. Hungry just tends to put you out of position, and then you're dead. So I don't know. I think you can make it work, but I wouldn't pick it being like, oh, I got level 20 and now I have Hungry Stiches. GG. I would be more worried about Master Hooker. Oh wow, I pulled that guy. He can walk through what? Okay, whatever. Alright, so Valk put a whole bunch of questions in chat, as well as I'll open up questions and things for anyone else that has a question or a suggestion for Stiches. I've got a couple more notes, but I wanted to make sure I hit my halfway point and didn't want to ignore anybody that's hanging out today. let's see. So the chat says, playtime is fun with Stiches for endless mana and loads of slam uses. Yeah, so you can get the CDR for slam on this talent here, but the thing that's weird is that it's like, what does slam enable or do? Like, what are we getting as a benefit for slamming more often? And so we don't necessarily need the additional super slows here. Like, sure, you can keep people slowed, but the hook target that you're on, you know, is going to be slowed already from your tenderizer and from your own stuff. So I don't know. I don't think this gives you enough benefit, even with a 1.5 second cooldown reduction. So your slam is still not back up because it's not reduced per hit. Or is it? Hold on. That might be where it's useful. So, oh, I gotta toggle my talents. Okay, so if I hit just one hero, it's back up in 6 seconds, which is what I thought, because we hit one. If I hit 2 heroes, what? Does that actually work? No, it does. Okay, it's still it's the same. Okay, so yeah, you have to get the.
It's only inner.
As I say, yeah, it's only the inner. So I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna. If it's stacked with other things, like, you're never gonna get a pile of this. Like, even in a triple bruiser comp, you're not gonna like get a free reset to then like be able to slam again and slam again and slam again. So unless something else comes off, I don't think that. So slam. See if you just continuously auto attack in a triple. Yeah, this is. I wish. It feels like it's so close to being what it needs, but it's just way too hard. Because then, like, Stiches is essentially like a bruiser then. Which I guess we could do. We could theory craft a little bit at the end here of how to make Stiches a 4-man bruiser. But, yeah, like I said, what else did Valk have? Does the team have only one diver and you are Devour build? Okay, take digestive juices. That's exactly correct. So on 16, if someone is specifically just trying to get into the back line of your team, a lot of the times you even can see Greymanes, or like I said, Deathwing's a big one just because he's a big target. But something where their win condition is one hero coming in and blowing all their damage, being able to reduce that can be pretty powerful. So don't sleep on it. Just, I think Pulverize will be the more consistent talent. Do you like the big slows and some armor reduction? Okay, Pulverize, he's talking about that. Do you like unfettered damage and not caring about your teammates, Flare? As much as I think that I don't depend on my teammates, I think I can probably output more damage or hopefully slow someone enough for my teammate to show up with Pulverize over the Flare. 15% uptime on an unstoppable for a guy with a massive survivability sounds fair. Yeah, I know. It's not super fair for him to be able to have like the largest health pool in the game and have an unstoppable. But I do think that I said that people sleep on that unstoppable 20. I think it's very strong. So, sweet. I think I answered all those questions. Then the last little bit here will be just talking about Stiches in general and what you're aiming for or trying to do. So, the obvious thing... Oh, go for it.
I just want to throw a couple draft questions at you.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of comps do you look to draft Stiches in? What do you look to draft him against? And then what kind of counters for him are there?
Beautiful. I was going that direction. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Okay.
So...
Continue then.
Yeah. No, those are all great. So, when we talk about Stiches, one of the things that you're trying to do is you're abusing the fact that you can, especially up to level 13, you've got like more than half a lane worth of ability to land or displace somebody. And so if you can find a way to enable that once it lands, because the problem is everyone runs away. So when you're drafting for Stiches, you want to have something that is going to be, especially like in a coordinated environment, you want to have your guaranteed follow-up CC. And that usually comes in the form of the support player. So if you think about Anduin, Malfurion, um, the Uther, someone that has essentially, as soon as that hook comes back, they are stunned. And then that lets your team do bonus damage, just like my turrets here pretend to be my team. And so that's really the key for drafting Stiches, is making sure he has some help. And kind of in that same way, that's why that bruisery build tends to work a little better when you're not having a coordinated group, just because it makes Stiches more of a wave clear, big body tank rather than being essentially a hook bot, where it's like, did you land hook? Yes or no? And then, you know, it's over. So definitely something to be thinking about in draft is having a follow-up support. And then the follow-up CC doesn't have to be necessarily Malfurion or any of that stuff. You can use anyone that has a stun. So you can use like Kael'thas has like an instant stun. You can use Junkrat to use, like, you can put mines on the floor or traps on the floor, and so you can like hook somebody and then they'll put them, and it like drags them through the trap. It still counts. Or like same thing, like if you hook someone and the Malfruit's a little off, but they get dragged through the root, like they still get rooted or they still get stunned by KT, even if they didn't perfectly connect between the two flights. So there's a lot of great pairings for Stiches to secure kills. I think as far as maps he's good on and draftable for, is any map that has an objective where the objective is actually visible on the map. And so what I mean by that is some of the maps you don't necessarily have vision, and if Stiches doesn't have vision, he has to throw a lot more potentially blind hooks. And that could mean that your engage or your follow-up and all that stuff gets burnt because your team's ready for the follow-up and it didn't happen. So maps like Infernal Shrines, Towers of Doom, Cursed Hollow, like any map where you clearly can see them on the objective, like if someone's trying to channel the objective on Cursed Hollow, right, they're just going to be sitting here channeling, and you can potentially get a free hook. Alterac Pass is another one. Like I said, anytime where someone has to be channeling and the objective visible. Towers of Doom, same thing. They have to be visible to channel the thing. So those are all my favorites. A map I probably wouldn't recommend Stiches on, just because it's so different. Not that it's wrong, but I probably wouldn't pick him on Battlefield of Eternity, because a lot of the time Battlefield of Eternity, you're either racing or you're defending. And like, as cool as it is to like hook somebody into the Immortal Stun, it's hard to time. And then like if you're not perfectly playing defense and you try and like engage on them when they're trying to engage on you when you're racing, you're like pulling them into your team. And that's probably one of the things to be wary of as a Stiches player as well, is like obviously your strength is in separating people. So if you hook somebody and the team just decides to like collapse on you and your whole team, you essentially like enable their engage. And so something you have to be wary of is don't always just throw hooks that exist if you don't have the follow-up CC or the follow-up kill. Like, you want your hook to be up because it threatens them. If you're throwing hooks out all the time, as soon as it's off cooldown, like, they'll know, hook's down, I've got 16 seconds. And they'll go do something else, or they'll engage on you because now you're not scary. As far as drafting into Stiches, so the enemy team has first pick Stiches because they think they're hooking gods. You probably want to look for something that's got percentage health, as well as potentially heroes that can remove Stiches from the fight. A lot of people like Gorge, even though Gorge isn't always right. You get entered into a stasis when they're in Gorge, and so you can abuse this fact and actually remove the enemy hero or your friend from Stiches. So if you take Anubrak or Maiev, both of them have ults that actually will remove the hero from Stiches' belly as soon as it's cast. So if you cocoon or do the isolation disc, it actually will spit the person out, and so Stiches' ability to actually like gorge and remove someone from the team fight is gone. I think the other things that are annoying for Stiches, besides percentage health, is just minus healing. Like, you can see that there's a lot of different ways for Stiches to get healed, and so since he has the big health body, if you can remove some of his healing over time, like without his E, like he's not very tanky, so you'll be able to potentially burst him or kill him. So like if you also have a bunch of disruptions for Stiches, like Stiches doesn't have any way to like run away. He has a slow, so like he has 10% movement speed, and that's about it. So if you are able to you know, make Stiches' life a pain with like a Junkrat or what was the other one we were playing the other day that was annoying? If you do Junkrat or even just a counter Malfurion, can be really hard for Stiches to be able to re-engage like without his hook, and just being able to displace him. I really like Leoric into Stiches too. So Leoric's annoying because he can just body the hooks, and with his Ghost Walk, and then on top of that, when the team fights do happen, if you like gorge a friend and you start running away, Leoric can entomb Stiches, and now Stiches is stuck in an entomb, and his friend's gonna get spit out in a couple seconds and be safe. So Leo into Stiches is pretty strong too. What else? Yeah, just things that are physically either walling or cause him to be able to not do what he wants to do. So I know a lot of people like to say like, oh, just grab Anduin because you can, you know, pull people back once they get hooked. And it's like, sure, that maybe works once or twice in the early game, but once he starts getting Serrated Edge, and especially late game with Master Hooker, your cooldown on hook is so low that even if Anduin does make a saving pull, like they still have to be worried for the next one. Because I think Anduin gets his second pull on 13, so it's something we just have to be aware of. And then what else? You said counters, maps. Was there something else that you wanted, Silver? I have one more thing on my list, but I want to make sure I got your questions answered.
No, you covered. When out drafting, you covered that pretty well.
Okay. Cool. The other thing about Stiches that I think people underestimate or don't do a great job of evaluating when looking at draft is potentially putting Stiches in that off lane, in that flex position. And so what you can do with Stiches, I showed you already that he can wave clear really well. But one of the things you can do is on maps where objectives aren't necessarily wave clear based, so like Volskaya Foundry or Battlefield of Eternity, like yes, you need to be able to wave clear. Say it's like, but you know, it's like you don't need to double soak. You don't need to be someone that camps and does all that stuff by yourself. Bringing an extra tank person can really throw people off because they're going to draft and think, okay, we're going to counter Stiches, and then you don't even see Stiches. Stiches is in the off lane, and then he has really big flanking hooks where he can mess things up, or he can run in and just bile on the team and create that, you know, very negative ground for people to actually try and walk through and get rid of. So, I have not played with an idea of a bruiser Stiches, now that someone mentioned that earlier, so I will have to goof around. If I find something, I'll make another video or I'll send it to you. But, yeah, I think that's important. Some just common, like, tips and mistakes for Stiches. Being able to find your angles. So, Stiches does best when being able to hook from out of vision. So if you are trying to like get somebody, like sure, this is a dangerous hook, but like it's one of those things where the impact of that hook is 10 times greater than if I try and do what I'm about to do right now. Like, walk up to here and try and hook them at point blank. Like, yes, I still hook them, but, like, getting them on the other side of the wall can be really the difference between a death and not. As well as pay attention to your positioning, where you're hooking from, because your body, you see how it always kind of, like, the terrain is weird when you get hooks? So you want to make sure that when you actually get the hook, that you're on the terrain side that you want. And so sometimes to do that, you actually have to back up and create a space for them. And so, oh, he's going to dodge that one. I'll just toggle cooldowns. You have to create a space so that way he actually comes in front of you. Now he can't leave. Oh, I didn't body block. But that's the idea, is that you hook to where it lands in front of you. If you hook and you're in the terrain, they will actually spawn on the left or the right side of you. The game will not let them physically spawn in that gap in between you and the terrain. So if you're trying to make sure to get that exact positioning hook, to create a little bit of space there, because you will run into times where they get hooked and they stay on the other side of the wall. So I'm going to do it on purpose just as an example. Like, you can't obviously hook... Oh, dang it. So you can't obviously hook through your gate, but there are certain terrains that don't leave enough space, and so when you actually do throw the hook, they get stuck right here on the other side, and then, like, all of your damage who's hiding behind you over here can't do anything. So that's something to watch out for. Another thing that you can do is the gates, like making sure that when you're sieging to destroy gates and things, because if the terrain's not there, those are now, you can now hook through them to be able to get kills. Like, you can't hook through your own gate, but you can still create opportunities for kills when hooking. Some of the favorite maps for that are like Towers of Doom and Cursed Hollow. There's a lot of, like, little chokes and things that you can get around or get behind, and that can be really powerful in making sure to get, like, a cheeky hook. Can you go back over there for a sec, Anduin? I'm not here. So, like I said, you want to make sure you get your positioning just right, so when you do throw the hook, they get on the right side of you, and now you can, like, body block and do stuff. Another cool trick for body blocking, if you've never done it, is you can actually, instead of clicking, you can mouse walk. And so since Stiches has such a big body, you can actually, I'll just try and eat him and force him to get in this corner again. So what I mean by mouse walk is you hold your ability down and you're not actually clicking, you're just kind of sticking with them, you're following them. And so especially if you can get extra additional slows and stuff off, you can get on the other side of them. And then as they try and run, you can kind of, like, wiggle back and forth as, like, official body blocks versus, like, actual click inputs. Because the click inputs, sometimes you can body block, but it's not as consistent just because of the micro clicks that you do. So being able to actually mouse walk or orb walk, like, gives you more opportunities to get a body block. Yeah, so look to hook so good partners with Stiches, sorry. Another good partner with Stiches is someone that can provide vision, because Stiches isn't really the best vision tank. He's a vision tank in the sense that, like, you know, if this is Dragonshire and I'm in the Triangle of Doom, say it's like, sure, I can ward this bush, but, like, if their whole team of 5 is on top of me, like, outside of trying to slam to dismount them and run away, like, I can't hold this bush, because they will just collapse on top of me. The only reason I can vision tank is because I have, like, 7,000 health. Like, that's how he's a vision tank. So being able to make sure that you abuse the vision correctly, or having vision of additional heroes through abilities, can be really critical in making sure that you actually get the follow-up you need, or to have the tools you need to get hooks. So, and then, yeah, I think that's everything on my list that I had. Anything else, Silver? I said, and then we can goof around. I can try and make a Bruiser Stiches here in a second.
No, that's pretty good, but I need to get going anyway.
Okay.
I want to go eat dinner before my class.
Sounds good. All right. Have fun. Thank you for joining me. And for all the TV Land viewers out there, thanks again. And hopefully you enjoyed our CCS days. We do them about once a month. Check in on the CCS Discord, as well as just continue to enjoy the game, and hopefully Stiches gives you more room to play and can help you win more and hopefully beat him a couple times and not just get frustrated when he hooks you over and over. So, have a good night. Catch you later.